Welcome back, boys and girls. We are going to begin our science investigation in this section of Science Today. So I just am going to get my plates situated over here. So you can see plates 1 and 3 are here, and then I have plates 2 and 4 of the soil right in front of these plates. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding water to the soil, and we're going to experiment what happens to each of these kinds of soil once water is added. So let's start with plate number 1. Okay, so here is my plate number 1 with my soil in here. Okay, and I'm going to get my vial number 1 that is now empty since all the soil content is in the plate, and I'm going to open up the vial. Okay, what I'm going to do in this section of our investigation is I'm going to dump all of the soil, so the soil on plate number 1, I'm going to empty it back into on my vial number 1. Okay, once I do that, I am going to take my syringe. So this is called a syringe if you've never seen one before. Okay, and what's cool about a syringe is that there are different numbers labeled going down the side and different tick marks within each of the numbers. So this syringe is counting by 5s. So it starts with 0, then it goes to 5, and it goes all the way to 60. What I'm going to do after I dump soil number 1 and back into the vial number 1, I'm going to take this little container of water that I have here. It's just regular room temperature water. I'm going to stick my syringe into it, and I'm going to access about 25 milliliters of water by dipping the syringe into the water and pulling it up until I get to the 25 tick mark. Okay, so it's right about to 25, and I'm just going to double check because I want it to be exactly at the 25 tick mark. Okay, and it is. So I have 25 milliliters of water in my syringe, so I'm just going to rest it to the side. I am going to do this for each of my plates of soil. So for plate number 2, and for plate number 3, and for plate number 4. Okay, I'm going to pause my video here, and I'm going to set up all of the vials with the 25 milliliters of water within them, and then I'm going to unpause the video, and we're going to observe what happens. Okay, boys and girls, so we are back here. Now I have my vials all right here filled with 25 milliliters of water. I just wanted to pause it and do it so that I didn't waste a lot of time just of you guys seeing me fill up with water. Okay, so what you're noticing right now is that there's a lot of bubbles forming. Do you see that? Okay, so I want to ask you, what do you think the formation and the bubbles occurring means? Okay, so the bubbles indicate that when the water seeps down into the vials of soil, it pushes the air out. Okay, so as the water is going down deep into the vials of soil, air is being pushed out. Okay, the bubbles are evidence that there are air spaces between the particles of soil. So we can see that there's a lot of air spaces in soil number 1. Okay, I'm just going to adjust my camera a little bit so that you can see this a little better. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. And you can see that in soil number 1, the water has only gotten to here. And the same with vial number 2. Here's vial number 3. So this section right here is all water, all of the water seeping down, and then here is vial number 4. Okay, so I want you to look really closely at these different vials of our soil. Okay, each of them are very, very different. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the caps on each of the soil vials and I'm going to shake them, okay? So I'm going to shake them for about 30 seconds to a minute each. And then we're going to observe what each vial looks like after shaking for about a minute. And you will observe what it looks like while it sits for about 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video right here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the vial and I'm just going to shake each one for about a minute. After I'm done doing this with each vial, I'm going to unpause the video and you're going to make some observations at the layers of soil in each vial. Okay? So I'll see you soon, boys and girls. Okay, boys and girls, we are back. I just shook each of the vials for about 1 minute, and I'm going to show you the side view of the vials. Okay, so here's 2, 3, 1, and 4. Okay, so after looking at these, which one do you think settled to the bottom first? Okay, I'm seeing that vial number 4 settled to the bottom very, very quickly, so because you can see that there really isn't any left on top. Vial number 1 really doesn't have material settled too far to the bottom. And looking at vial number 3, you could tell that there's a lot of water still right there. And here's vial number 2, same thing, a lot of water there. Okay, so I'm going to turn them just a little bit so we could see the numbers a little bit better. So there's 1, 2, 3. I'm just gonna scoot them down. Okay, so there are our 4 vials of water with each 25 milliliters soaked in each of them. Okay, so now let's take a look at our directions and see where we're going to be heading next. Okay, so I want you to observe each of these vials. I'm going to display them again and you can pause the screen to really observe each one. Okay, after doing that, you are going to go to your slides. Okay, and here are your slides for day 2. You're going to answer the questions right over here and on slide 9 as well. Okay, now after today, we see that day 3 is going to be the settled soil vials overnight. So these vials are going to stay overnight, and then we're going to see what they look like tomorrow when we come into science, okay? And then you're going to be making observations tomorrow on what they look like overnight. But for right now, take a look at each of the vials and let me know what you see. So I'm first going to focus on vials 2 and 3. Okay, and you can pause your screen to really notice and make note when answering the questions where each of the things are. Okay, so here's some soil that's settled to the bottom. Here's some water. And then I see some things laying on top. Same, and this is vial number 2. Same with vial number 3. They almost look the same, right? Okay, so pause your screen here if you want to take some more observations, and then I'll move on to numbers 1 and 4. Okay, here's vial number 1. So it kind of looks like it's all mixed together. And here's vial number 4. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, and tell me what you notice. Okay, where do you think the humus is in each of these vials? Okay, and remember the humus is the decayed plants and animals that is in all soil. Okay, so you can pause your screen at any time to take a better look at vials 1 and 4. Let me zoom in one more time. Okay, try your best, boys and girls.